in relationships and in dating. Who y'all? I'm excited for this conversation. what
I
are we?
am.
What are we? Like what's tea, Miss Sunshine? What's tea?
Well, I'm ready to get into this conversation because definitely there are a lot of double standards when it comes down to dating. Um, and I just really want to get to the bottom of it, like get different perspectives on what that is and why is it so. Like I'm a why type of girl. So once somebody tells me that this is the way they think, I feel like you should be strong enough to stand on it. So you should have some reasons behind it. So I'm definitely excited to get into this conversation.
Yes. So I guess the first question I want to ask, and Mr. Nate, feel free to chime in if you want to. What is the difference between a man having multiple sex partners and a woman having multiple sex partners?
I mean, are you asking in terms of, from a man's perspective, or are you just asking just in general? You know what I mean? Or, woman's, I mean, I can only speak on a man's perspective.
It can be a little bit of both.
Um, well, a man looks for loyalty from a woman, right? And when a woman gets, like gets another man, like on the side, let's say if she is cheating or whatever, or she basically starts, like a man if she's kind of giving it up. You know what I mean? And that multiple sex partners is just, I don't know, it's not, ain't what most men be for. But just on the flip side, for a woman looking at a man, it's like, I mean, I only look at it the way God created us. A woman can only carry for 9 months, and a man can have multiple over the same 9 months. You know what I mean? Not to just say that that's totally okay, or that's you know the way he just totally designed it, but there is some, I feel, limitations in our reality that has us here. I'll just leave
Okay.
it at that.
So, with that being said, is it something like poly? Let's use poly for an example. I'm guessing for a man, it's okay to have two women, right? So, when you have a woman that wants to do poly, can she bring in another man?
So, in my the way I kind of look at it is, that's by situation. It just depends on the understanding that's there, because you would
Mhm.
want secure men that understand the situation just like you would want secure women. You know what I mean? That
Mhm.
can understand the situation. I think we loop a lot of this stuff all into one when we're talking about relationships, because just we'll disregard the relationships where there's a total understanding of what's going on. You know what I mean? That be the thing, I guess, our communication gap sometimes in relationships. I don't know. I mean, a lot of times, let's say the man don't want to admit that's what he want. You know what I mean? Or the
Yeah.
woman don't want to admit that that's what they want, instead of being totally for real about you know we don't. I guess we ain't encountering those real situations really to be able to talk about it.
Miss Sunshine, what do you think?
Um, for me, I always go back to like first of all, what is a set number? Like as a man, what would you consider to be a set number of previous men, the woman that you decide to settle down with and marry at some point? Is there a set number of men that she has to have not crossed the line over for you to consider her your wife? Like, is there going to be a conversation as soon as you meet her? Do you do the body count question on the first date?
No, uh, like that, like how that is derived is some men may come out of ass, but a man that come out of ass, he don't really like you.
Oh.
Okay.
If he come out and
So
ask, he's not talking about nothing, you know, long term. You know what I mean? Unless he just totally green to the game, like a young, a young man, a young man or whatever. But a man that been, dating shouldn't come and ask that question. It should be understood by how she moves,
Yeah.
what her interests are, like how she gets along with other men outside of her family, like what the relationships are like. You know what I mean?
right.
And do she
Okay.
consider herself a virtuous woman? You know what I mean? And that don't always mean like some religious or spiritual stuff. You know what I mean? That's just the nature of a woman is to be more. Um, um, what's the word I'm looking for? To be more like I ain't gonna say to themselves, but preserve themselves. You know what I mean? Because the man got to go out and, it used to be chop the wood and kill the whatever, and bring back the build the house. It really was that. You know what I mean? And we still
Yeah.
have a stature of that. You know what I mean? So
Joy, can you resend the link? The one that we have is still saying
I,
starting soon.
I got somebody that could chime in. That could log
Yeah,
in. He said he
definitely.
want to.
Let's get some more people into the conversation. Um, and so in listening to your response, in the preserving of oneself again, like in these days and times, you have a lot of men who they prefer to build themselves up to a certain level before they're ready to introduce a woman, into their life.
Mhm.
And then sometimes that take a long period of time.
Mm.
So I've always been curious as to what is the woman supposed to do in this preservation period, while she waits on whatever man that's supposed to be for her to come along. I mean,
She
and
she's
I guess
perfecting she perfecting herself though. That's what
okay,
she's doing. She's getting. I
but what
mean,
is the man
don't
doing?
we are trying to get to a place where we can provide. You know what I mean, and actually run shit like we want to say we do. Even I'm saying that's what a man got to do. I ain't saying run you. That's what women
Mhm.
get it mixed up. When a real like a man comes in with a lot of masculine energy,
Mhm.
like my I ain't gonna say feminine, but you know what I mean, my other side you know is soft, and you know what I mean, when the times need be. But sometimes in conversation, you need to just put a little strength to your words. You know what I mean, a little matter to it.
So, do you believe in preserving yourself while you're getting yourself together for the person that you ready to be with, or do you think that it is okay for a man to like be on the prowl per se until he finds the right woman? Because like some people are willing to go into relationships and withhold the sex until after marriage, and some people want to make sure that they know what they're tying themselves down to before they go into the marriage standpoint. So a lot of times for women, we're willing to, settle down and try to build something, with someone. But what if you go into that situation and you're ready to build with that person and you've already become intimate, and in your mind you're thinking it's somebody you can build with, but then they halt you like, nah, I'm not ready. So now you're making the decision that, hey, I'm gonna have to cut you off because I can't keep giving myself to you while you're not ready, or you're not ready for marriage. And so this woman is now, back being a single woman, but yet has collected another body. And a lot of times that's what it is, because they go into it expecting that this is gonna be long term. A lot of women don't go into things, I think, believing that this is just for the moment, unless she's on a dating site picking
Well,
up men just for the moment.
I'll say, things have changed.
Yeah, they have changed.
Yeah,
I'm for,
they have
I'm
changed,
I'm
but
43.
But
Okay, I'm 43. Things have changed in dating from
mhm,
on both sides. You know what I mean? So it's different than it was. I have had periods in my life when yes, that was true. Almost every woman I met, but in the last 5 years, 4 years, yeah, it hadn't really been like that with dating. You know, women don't really date now to like look to be with you. You know what I mean?
What?
No longer.
I I gotta disagree on that because
You
simply
disagree?
women nowadays, mm, I'm gonna put it up in the air.
Well,
I
I'm saying
raised
it's different
old
than it used to
school,
be. It used to be like
so yeah,
before.
I raised old school. So for me, I'm looking to be in a relationship with a man. Even with me being on a dating site, I want to be in a relationship with a man. This is what it is. Then you got women who look at it
But
as
are you looking to get married? Are you looking? Are you looking for the needle in the haystack guy that you are going to marry, or are you giving a lot of energy to situations that is not even going to lead to anything? That be a lot of the thing that we both sides. You know what I
mhm,
mean? But if a woman says she wants to get married, just being in a relationship is one thing. Do you want to get married? That's starting to be the question. If not, and that's what women are starting to choose when they're young right now. Young women are not looking to be married. Young women are looking to live their life.
mhm,
Maybe find a dude if he cool, if he, is somebody,
mhm.
to have a baby, and then hey, we're gonna live life from there. If he be there, cool. If not, then we're gonna handle it from there. Not looking to say, hey, I wanna be married.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go for Joe Blow because Joe Blow don't is not in a place where he trying to get married. Whether he tell me or not, you can see it.
Mhm.
And women will keep going down the road of I still want to be at some point the conversation need to happen, you know, if that's what you want to do. But being married is not. That's a whole nother task within itself to be married. You know. So I'm just going off of your the way you kind of going is every woman wants to be in a relationship and maybe relationship maybe, but
I
the
do
whole
want to be.
idea is to be
I
off
Need
the
this
market. The whole
conversation
idea
on. We need
is
this
to be
conversation
off the
on
market.
live.
I do want to be in a relationship. Not relationship. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I do want to be married one day, not today, but one day. I do
You
want
know
to
what I
be
mean?
married.
What if the guy comes along today or tomorrow or next week? You should
Then I
always
got.
be ready. You should
Then
always be saying
I'm
like,
always ready.
hey,
I'm
hey,
always ready. I
I
feel
might not
like,
be in the place I need to be at, but you seem like to be the guy. Let's make
but
an
again,
agreement.
it's up to that guy because me, I don't have all my shit together. So
I
when a
mean,
guy
we
asks
most
me,
most of us don't. Say 80%, 85% of us, what I mean, don't. Is still trying, which is cool. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I mean, not saying that you always have to wait for this no specific time or moment. I definitely don't think that, but I definitely think it takes, you know, an intention. How intentional are you when you are dating?
hmm
Well,
I
this
can
lady
speak to the
told
men.
me
I can speak to the men
that
too. I'm sorry.
she said that if you're looking for a husband, then you have to act like a wife. So
Hmm.
is that what it is when
Yes.
you are
But that's the whole
when you
thing.
but
get to
hold
that
on.
point? Is that what you're looking for?
What is define? We have to act like a wife.
Okay,
Define that.
I'm about to. I'm about to. It's very easy to define. It's very, very easy to define, right? So, what a wife does is the mannerisms of what what like old school shit, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like wanting to be courted, you know what I mean? Not really pushing for a whole lot, right? But
Mm-hmm.
because all you want is the time, like
The
the
time,
money,
the
the
affection.
gifts, the
Yeah.
all of that. You want to treat you, right, of course. But what you ultimately are looking for in a man is somebody is that guy and what he's gonna be like, the attention that he's gonna show you. You know what I mean? How much is he gonna, be looking to, either provide whatever or to, kind of be there for you. But you gotta allow that. You can't like all of that, aggressive talking. You know what I mean? There should like you should never get to a point to where never like it's okay to be like, you know what, dude, I had a good time, but I'm out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Do
that
you
should
think that's
always be
what's
on the
keeping
table.
a lot of relationships? I'm a type of person where I think communication rules the world. So
Hmm.
I feel like the things that make a relationship is the same thing that breaks it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Strong communication can make a relationship, lack of communication can break a relationship. And so a lot of times people go into things and they come out of things and there's been a conversation that has not been had. And that's normally the reason why things don't, you know what I'm saying, go the right way. So, like I said, for me, I think that a lot of women they want to be in a relationship, they want marriage, but again, so many, you know what I'm saying, of us have been hurt, have been fed the same thing. So you kind of can't. I feel like it's kind of like should be a no blame game because it's like the same thing. Like when we were growing up, I remember, okay, from a kid, your grandmother always telling you, when we go up in the kitchen, there's pots on the stove, you would always hear the word hot. It's hot. It's hot. And then every now and then one of us would touch the stove and the first thing my grandma would say, I told you it was
Yeah.
hot. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like what part did you not understand? And so a lot of time relationships are so repetitive until after you've heard these things so many times over and over again and they come with the same result. It's very hard for you to be able to believe when that right person may come along. So
Okay.
even to
So in that, right?
get
You said you're getting the same result.
hmm
Are you doing something different?
Well, that's what I'm about to get to. I think the difference is discovering when you have people that are looking for something so bad, that's the only thing that's in your sight. You know what I'm saying? And you start to forget the process that it takes to receive that. So just like how she was saying, I want a relationship, I want a husband. Well, sometimes you get so desperate for that, you stop paying attention to what exactly you are displaying to get that. Like for me, when I was in that stage, when I wanted someone so bad, I realized that I was looking for companionship, but yeah, I wasn't even comfortable with being with myself. You know
Wait,
what I'm
hold on.
saying?
Hold on. Let's stop the shit right now. Y'all got I know y'all got a man in y'all DMs right now that y'all don't really like.
To be able to believe.
You
Nah,
guarantee it. None.
nah.
None that's like
And
a
and
stand up guy. It's cool, but you don't really like him like that because you think he lame or something.
no, I honestly don't because I'm in a relationship. I'm in a same sex relationship, but I've had before being in my relationship. Yeah, I've had people in my DM, but I'm the type of person where I don't really like to waste time leading people on. So even if you like a person who you want to like keep pressing the situation and pressing the situation and pressing the situation, my response to that is like, are you not looking at how you're coming out? Like again, like I'm the type of person where you should never want to put yourself out there to where you're forcing yourself onto someone. I want to know that somebody genuinely feels a way about me and it's not something that you had to beg them to see who you are, you didn't have to chase after them or whatever. Like I don't reciprocate things like that. So if somebody jump in my inbox and say, hey, I think you nice or whatever the case may be, thank you, and it's on to, I have no reason to try to fulfill nothing for them because there's nothing they can do to fulfill anything for me. So they might be a nice person, they might have their stuff together, but if I'm not in that space of looking for someone or they're not someone that I'm looking for, then I don't like to take the time out to entertain people just to be entertaining people. I just don't think that that's something that it's a waste of time. And it still goes back to like you taking time out of if your ultimate goal is to find somebody to be with, but you tell yourself, well, in the meantime, I'm just going to, dibble dabble here, dibble dabble there. Like again, like how you said in the beginning, a woman should want to preserve themselves. For me, a man looks at a woman should preserve themselves, but these are the same women that you're telling you're not ready. But most men are still going around dibble dabbling here and dibble dabbling there. Well, guess what? Them same women that you dibbing and dabbing in when you're not ready are the same women that you come back and judge for body count when she was giving herself to a man that she thought it was going to go somewhere and it didn't.
And I got a question. Why is that the issue? Why is it that women get the blame for how a man is how a man treats them when they first meet? As far as like if I'm talking to John and John say, "Oh, he's telling me all these things, right?" And then we end up having sex. But then John breaks my heart. But then here I am talking to Edward and I'm letting Edward know this is how John did me. And Edward goes to say, "Well, you knew the type of man he was when you laid down with him." No, I did not know that because John was putting on the facade. Why is that an issue? Why is it that men blame us for how the last man treated us? If that makes sense.
I'm gonna come back to your question too, though, because you asked a question, right, Sunshine? Okay. Um, a lot of times it that happens because I I will in my opinion, women didn't see the signs that were there to know that this guy was not going to be there long term.
Mhm.
You,
What are some of
you
the
fell in
signs?
love. You fell in love with what you saw around him, what you saw, like something else other than what you should have seen. You know what I mean? In fact, if he's out all the time, if he has multiple like things going on already. Don't create no feelings. Don't create like know where to put that. I'm just being for real. I'm just being totally honest. If you already see the motion, you like, oh, somebody got some motion. That's the word y'all use, right? He got motion going on. If he got too much motion going on, you should have motion going on too. And I'm not understand what I mean. Motion as in I'm gonna make sure I stay not totally, in this. Because that's my whole point about women will mess around. You know what I mean? Women will mess around. But I mean, men, if you see the man doing it, why would you go into it to hurt yourself? If you
So
already, if you
what if
know,
on the other foot? Would you tell if one of your homeboys went and started dating a girl that had motion and he got his heart broke? Would you tell him the same thing? Like, man, you saw she had motion. You
but as a man, it's totally different rules. It's like my brother. That is never what you're supposed to be worried about, ever.
what
A,
what they're
wo-
not
a woman, a woman having motion. If she got motion, you let her have motion. If that's what she wants, it's a choice. It is a choice that we all make. You know what I mean? So if, as a man, I'm not gonna tell him to. You know what I mean? Like, what you think? You know what I mean? Like, don't be soft about it. You know what I mean? Don't trip about it. You know what I mean? It's really like that. You allow her to do that, and you be great over here. That's the same
but
thing I'm saying.
but would you tell is that what you would tell your friend even if this was a woman that he was like really interested in, really put like his heart and emotions in it? Would you just so easily say like, "Hey, get over it"?
That's just to me. I'm a Sagittarius, y'all. So I don't really like um, um, try to go around. I'm gonna go straight through the obstacle. The obstacle is trying to love somebody or be with somebody or do stuff for somebody that's not either reciprocating it or giving you a level of, I don't know, like love and positivity back. Thank
Mhm.
you or appreciation for it. And some reciprocation I think is needed on both ends. If that's not happening, I mean, like, what is this? It's not serving you. Your energy is getting wasted, and energy is real. You know, we
So
connect to.
do you require that type of reciprocation from a woman that you're just sleeping around with? Or is that just the reciprocation that you need from a woman who you are dating or trying to be actively in a relationship with?
So me, it just depends on the woman, really. You know, to be honest, it ain't always just cut and dry. Like, I'm not, engaging. But I don't know. It just depends on her. Like that's the she y'all don't know the power y'all have when it comes to relationships, but you got to have the discernment. You know what I mean?
I
You
think
really
that
got to have major because it's so many different factors now. Back then, we didn't have all of these factors or access or the ability to get right to hundreds of thousands of people in an instant. We didn't have that back in the day. So we didn't have all these interactions. You know how many interactions these normal women, regular women, are getting on a daily basis from online? That
does
is
that, do you think that because women can have so many interactions a day with multiple people, do you think that scares men off from
no.
being
I'm
able
not
to
saying it.
connect with
No,
one?
it depends on the purpose of what you're doing it for. But I'm saying these interactions that are geared toward like something sexual or something enticing or something that kind of talk to them and get a man to try to get them on their side. You know what I mean? This
Mhm,
happens. It's happening frequently, and it's happening a lot. You know what I mean? The way it's a lot of overload. You know what I mean? So
mhm,
these situations are just happening. You know what I mean? I know. People like for real. They like deal with a lot of people on a regular, not like sexually like that, but having these conversations. You know what I mean? Like entertaining. You know, multiple men. And it's like, what's what is your purpose? Like I said, go back to say again, the women run how the relationship is gonna go. And I ain't saying be so like, um, you know, dismissive.
mhm.
Not saying it like that. Like have interactions, but know when it's time to. It's a point to where okay, we don't
A
align.
limit to it.
Yeah, but we don't align. I mean, as well, you know what I mean? Like and that like a young chick taught me that like a year ago. You know what I mean? Like there's what I mean. There's a limit. There really with some people you have the fullness of the experiences you don't have already. It ain't no future. You know what I mean? It's some people that you're not gonna have these ultimate experiences with one day, and
Yeah.
that's ultimately if that's what
Do
you
you
want.
have, do you normally, so when you date, do you think you go in like with a mental checklist of,
Oh
okay,
yes.
yeah, let me
Mm-hmm.
see if she's gonna check out these boxes so you will know where to place her in your life? Is that kind of like how it is nowadays?
I mean, pretty much, but I mean,
So
it
what's the
depends on what
what keeps
happens.
them, what's that thing that keeps them on the checklist of, okay, I ain't going no further with you, or they can move them over here on this side where you feel like this could be a potential
Yeah,
future?
it's a long list of shit.
Oh God.
It's yes. I'm just saying. I mean, especially now. You know what I mean? Because people block you. Gonna talk about. That block game is serious now. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's a lot of different stuff. But the number one thing is, like you said, it's communication. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
All you gotta do is talk about really what you want. If they're online, man, just keep on moving. I ain't
mm-hmm,
saying don't have the interaction, but when you keep entertaining it, time at a time, and men are gonna come back. You know what I mean? It's our psychological programming.
mm-hmm.
Especially if we just see something we want. Me, I'm looking for something with substance. I'm looking for something with, you know, some meaning and purpose. Where are you at in your life and where you trying to go?
What are some things that you look for to find that substance that you looking for? Like I know some people might say, "Oh, no, I can't talk to her because she posts too much," or "No, I can't talk to her because she might show too much skin." Because like I have people that I know that like they're in a relationship, but like them and their partner, they aren't friends on social media. So like
Yeah,
her on
that's
social
healthy.
media, yeah, her on social media doesn't necessarily represent a girl who's in a relationship.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? So what are some things that you go into looking for to see, like, is this person gonna check off the box just to be hit it and quit it, or is this somebody that I want to invest my time in? Because I feel I've always told people that I think it should be a difference in how you treat people. You should not be treating the same person that you want to be in a relationship with in the same way that you treat a side piece or somebody you just met that you only plan on sleeping with one night. But some people go into these things and they will like literally give it they all. So for me, going back to what we talked about, you know what I'm saying, the question Joy asked initially, why is it a problem for, it's a problem for women to sleep around, but for men it's okay. So I have this group that I started, and we have a lot of open, you know what I'm saying, conversations and things like that. So one night the conversation was this guy said, hey, I met this girl and she has a boyfriend already. But we had a discussion, and what we decided was we were just only going to have sexual interactions, no emotional connections, no, nothing like that. He's like, but I'm trying to figure out why it seems like she's always like blowing me up when I got something going on. I told her like I'm not trying to get emotionally attached, da, 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 da. So like, what's going on? So I listen to everybody else tell them their scenario. Then he gets to me. He says, well, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, when she call you and you're in the midst of something, like, do you answer?" And he's like, no, because I'm in the midst of something. But again, like he said in the beginning, we made an agreement that when we want to have sex, we would get together with each other. She's in a relationship. So how does he know that she hasn't told him like, hey, I need to go make a grocery store run. And on that grocery store run, she want to swing by his house and get a little 10-minute quickie before she go back home. He doesn't know that.
But if he already got something going on, you know what I
No,
mean? I mean,
no.
I get the like the not answering though. Yeah, yeah. I mean, go on and
Yeah,
answer.
because guess
Like,
what?
hey, this wasn't planned. I got something going on.
Exactly, because guess what? If you're not answering the phone when she's calling, that means the only time y'all are hooking up is when you're calling,
And it's
right?
on his time.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I go a little bit further. I said now you're not having any conversations with her as far as what she needs to be fulfilled as a woman, what her man that she has is not already doing. So how do you know in secrecy you're not fulfilling, you know what I'm saying, you're not fulfilling her needs or whatever because you're not having those conversations with her. But now he's bragging on the type of man he is. I got this going on. I got this going on. I got this going on. So I drop it to him. You have all those things going on, but yet you devalue yourself because you'll drop your penis in anything that got a hole.
Mm, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now you don't really get the chance to get up here and like, ha. I'm the man. I got this going on. Because guess what? Even a woman who ain't got 2 cents to rub together can walk past your house and say, yeah, you got all that going on, but I was able to lay with you. So you have no substance.
But that
So
don't
that,
devalue a man though.
Okay,
but it
question.
does a woman.
Question.
It
To
does a woman
piggyback
because
off
a
what
woman's
she
supposed
said.
to be virtuous. A
To
man,
piggyback
there's nothing on a man for us to be none of that. What'd you say now?
to piggyback
We
off what she said, why is it that a man feels like he does not have to help a woman who he's laying with?
Why? Wait, what?
Why does a
It's
man feel like he does not have to help a woman who he's laying with? Such
uh,
as if she's behind on her light bill and she need, let's just say, $100, right? And she asks you for that $100. Is you gonna give it to her?
it
Is
really
you
just
gonna be at her house
it really
watching
just
her
all
in the
depends on
dark?
where I'm at, but it ain't just no automatic I'm gonna give it to her. I mean,
Why
like
not?
so if I call her and ask her for it, you know what I mean? Just say I called first and asked her for it. How would you feel about that?
If
Like
I'm fucking you, yeah.
let's say for instance, if I like would have it and like be willing to give it, right? But let's just flip it and say, if I called first and asked for it and I needed it, would you give it to me?
Yes. If I'm fucking you and I'm saying, if you call me and you say, babe, look, I'm down on my ass, I need help. If I got it, I'm going to give it to you. No
Yeah, I
questions
mean,
asked.
it just ain't no automatic that I'll just do it. But
You
in
see?
most cases, it just all depends, really. It's
No.
really just all
I
depends on
completely
where I'm
disagree.
at with her. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it really all depends.
Mm. I guess. I don't know. I got a friend. Um, I got a friend. She gone. I'm trying to figure out how to say it without putting her business out. I got a friend that'll let you know off top, like, hey, I got a light bill 150. Before you stick your dick in me, I need that money. Like,
That's
how do you feel about that?
that's prostitute.
But her bills getting paid.
I mean, that's prostitutes pay that bill. I mean,
It, I mean,
that's
it
an
all
even.
depends on
See,
like
that's
what
an
kind of
even
woman.
exchange. I'm sorry, that's an even exchange. Well, not even. That's a cash exchange. It's like a agreement. You know what I mean? But if it's like somebody I've been fucking with, you know what I mean? We've been cool. Let's say 6 months. Yeah, I mean, I ain't tripping $100. Okay, you know what I mean? If I really just I ain't fucked up.
Mhm.
Shit get rough. But um, yeah, that exchange like that, man, you may as well be out on the street somewhere. You know what I mean? Because how many more men are you doing this with?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean,
I
women call
mean,
emotion. Women call
that
emotion,
is
man.
that's what they're going to assume. That's the
You know.
question that's going to be asked.
But sometimes women will look at it too, like you've been fucking with the dude all the time. What do you have? I understand that whole thing. You know what I mean? Not to say that to go in always just expecting, but women don't know the ones that don't ask most of the time. It's the one that be to get something. You know what I mean? Especially if she virtuous and she actually cares something about herself, but is super nurturing, super supportive. You know what I mean? Ready to have your back, ready to kick it at any time, ready to what I mean, be in your world, but explain like, hey, what I mean? This girl told me one time, uh, oh, you wanna fuck with me? Oh, you must be talking about for life. You know what I mean? She like, cause I ain't been fucking with nobody for the last like 3 years for real, and I like you. So if you fuck with me, nigga, I'm just telling you beforehand. I was like, nah, I can't do it because I'm not in a place in my life where I'm trying to. And
Yeah,
she like real cool. You know what I mean? But I
Mhm.
just wasn't in no spot to.
yeah. And they have to be respected, and that's the reason why
Yes, yes.
communication is so important. And but you'll have some people still go into her life and try to challenge, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying,
yeah.
with her boundaries that she has
But
already set.
and I was fucked up as hell that night. It was like could have went, you know what I mean, that way. But I was like, I definitely thought that, like, man, she really is a good person. You know what I mean? And I ain't ready for that. You know what I mean? Like I already know. Yeah, no. But yeah.
Mhm,
Whew, y'all.
But I got a question.
Mhm.
mhm.
Why is it that men's standards or preferences is ridiculed or looked at as, you want what? You want a woman with some natural hair? You want a woman that don't wear make? You want a woman that don't wear? You want a woman that you want what? Why you want that? And
Society.
we
Yeah,
like,
that's
well
that's
y'all
a
want
society.
a man taller than you, stronger than you, smarter than you, got more money than you. You want all of that, right?
Nah, cause my baby daddy's short. He stay in the hood.
He's
He
shorter than
drive
you.
a Hyundai.
He's shorter than you.
We're about the same height. He a little bit, probably a inch taller than me.
Okay, he's
I'm
taller.
5'1", so
But
he
I'm
gotta
saying
be.
what you want. I'm saying what you want though, not what you got. I'm saying what you want.
I don't have a I like who like me. If you like me, if you
So
love
y'all,
me,
so y'all just different.
Joy,
You
I
gotta
don't
be.
know what's going on with the link. I sent it to a friend of mine to get on, but she said it's saying that it's for tomorrow.
How can it be for tomorrow if we on now?
I have no
I'm
idea.
having issues too because on my end, I can't make the live stream public. So nobody can't see it on my end, on my Facebook. So I'm not sure. Um,
Do
yeah,
you think we should log out and log back in, or?
depending on how long, because it's 6:45.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm. What's
to
your thought
go
on
to
it?
go back on some of the things as far as okay, when it comes down to the woman, I agree with you that that is a form of prostitution because that's transactional. It's pretty much you've already set the tone that this is
Yes,
what it is.
there's no feelings coming after that.
Yeah. So for me, if you set the tone like that and I step in there, like I'm not expecting emotions out of you. And so if you start to develop emotions for me, then more than likely you are going to get the like what the helly?
Yes,
Like no,
exactly. Exactly.
because you pretty much set up in that man mind that all it takes is $150 for any man to come up in here. And so
Oh, yeah.
you cannot blame that person for feeling like that if that's the tone that you have set for the situation. Now, um when it comes down to going off into a relationship or whatever, I definitely feel like it's only fair for both parties to be able to be open enough to say, this is what I'm looking for in this relationship. This is what I'm expecting out of the relationship. And then it's only fair for you all to respect whatever those responses
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you cannot meet those things, then what is supposed to be respected, you're supposed to be able to separate and go your separate ways. If you decide to
Yeah.
be friends, like that's
But
cool.
that's emotional and psychological
Yeah,
intelligence. You know what I mean?
but because
We
that's
we
because
don't.
a lot of people are not doing the work
Yeah. That's what
of
I'm
breaking the
saying.
cycle of what they
That's right.
have going on within, you know what I'm saying, within them. We're going into a relationship with expectations of people to fix and complete us.
Yep.
And
Yep.
people are already broken. Like they're trying to figure out how to fix and
Yep.
complete themselves.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
think it's just the expectations that people set upon people and the lack of communication is what is the breakdown of relationships. And I also feel like those same things are where people come in setting standards on the opposite sex to meet these certain things. And it's like, no, this is only for men, this is only for women. But for me, even when I was dating men, I still don't want a man who thinks it is okay to go stick his penis in everything walking and then feel like when he's ready to settle down, I should be okay with the body count he has, but he trying to check mine. Like I would want somebody that's gonna have some substance about them too. That's what I think about when it comes down to a relationship. If you're saying that the man is the head and then the woman is supposed to be the neck. But you didn't went and put your head on 1,000 different necks before you came and screwed it on to the one that you say that you want to, you know what I'm saying, be devoted to. But again, like I say, when we go out in the community, how many women are we passing that can claim you as a body?
Mm.
But then when a man look at me that ain't never had me, it's a problem.
I
That's
don't.
where the double, you know what I'm saying? That's
I ain't all the way there, but I get what you're saying. Like I'm a
yeah.
type of nigga that I'm not just, you know, it ain't cut and dry with me. You know, it's a lot of different things can happen. You know what I mean? And I understand that.
Yeah.
And you know, us as men, sometimes we, you know, like I say, I be talking about the stages of a man. You know, you can say whatever up to 18, and then like 18 to let's say 23, 25, you know, he's still trying to figure it out. You know, 25 to like 32, 30, 32, he's like starting to get serious with whatever career. You know, 32 to like 40, he pretty much, you know, is on his way, you know what I mean,
No,
to
he
where
not.
he's gonna go.
So do you think a man getting married before that age he's not ready? Like, do you think that a man that goes and decides to get married at 25 or 30, do you think that they're prepared for the longevity of a marriage?
Um,
None of them are ready.
they used to be because they could go right into the job force right then and get a good job to take care of their family, regardless of what that meant. You know what I mean? Whether it was the woman doing a, not working and taking care of a whole lot of shit, or she was helping out. You know what I mean? So it was different in one day and age. Today, it's tough. You know what I mean? It's tough because you got a lot of influence. The youngsters, they ain't experienced a whole lot of shit. So all of the, the glitz and glamour of life, I mean, they don't want to partake in it. So if they end up with money, that's what I'm saying. If they have money at 25 to 30, they may not, it may not be in the cards, you know what I mean? Just because of the access, the ability they actually have. But most young black men, 25 to 30, they ain't really got no money like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
They ain't established in life. They ain't went on outside the country. They ain't, don't have anything liquid or, credit in the, good space, to just really do anything, you know.
Okay, y'all.
What do you think, let me ask this question right quick. When you was saying about the younger kids coming up these days, what do you think that we have done in our age range? Like, I'm 41. So what do you think that we've done in this age range? Would say from 30 to 40, to where you got 18-year-olds now that are laying up having babies. Like, the crazy thing for me now is people having gender reveals and baby showers and things like that for kids who ain't even made it out of high school. Like, and so it's made it like a celebration to interrupt your youth to have a baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a game or something like that. So do you think that the way that we've handled life, relationships, and things like that, do you think it plays a part in how the younger generation is coming up now? Because these kids are already in abusive situations, and I mean, got 2 and 3 kids by the time they 21 and all of that, and they're not settling down. They moving on from one person to another.
And
I
I
mean,
would like
it was
to,
going on. It was going on in our time too, man. I mean, we have to always look back too, man, because we had the Freakniks and we had the Daytona beaches, and what I mean. We had fun too, and we had kids that are early. Grew up in the '90s in Atlanta, so I know the rate of what I mean, kids that grew up with babies. You know what I mean, like early, 14, 15, 16. It was a thing. So I don't think it's a whole lot different. What I think is they have more access to information and like to be influenced. And we don't understand how big that is. Like being influenced by something,
and
you
Mm-hmm.
know, and
could
actually
it be
creating
a
habits
generational
behind
thing?
that. It can turn into a generational thing because technology ain't going nowhere.
But y'all
You
didn't
know,
have technology back then
But
either.
that's the whole point. We have to deal with technology. You feel what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
we didn't have a
Back then,
choice.
you just able to do more dirty and secrecy.
Yeah, back then there were no cameras everywhere. Back
Yeah.
then you could, you know what I mean, have a different like there was a whole different way we did all type of shit. You know what I mean? From talking on the phone at home. Well, no fucking you texting. You don't get no what messages, email. Well, none of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the whole communication thing has changed to where you got access to get directly to anybody. You can go and get a flight to go right to. Man, I saw something where the girl was on some chat and it was just a chat, and she posted a picture and was saying, "Ah, the grass feels good." The dude went and got her direct location off of a pit. Like I'm not lying. He went. So they did the screenshots of it from the time she posted it, and he actually, I don't know if he put the address or what, but he posted something. She like started crying. Like how the fuck? How you know that? And he went through. The sun is in this particular place. You know, the grass look like it ain't that much. You know, it ain't like it's kind of beginning to be fall, but
Yeah.
not really fall yet. Then he was like,
Oh,
then looking at your
yeah,
shoe that
that's
you got
good.
on, that's this type of shoe, and it was like this part, this much is of the shoe, like for real. He like, you know, I know that now. I know that only certain type of people wear this, you know. So you in this type of, you know, religious affiliation and all that. She like going through it like, what? He was
Oh
like,
wow.
so then I go and look. It was something about a van or something. Like, you know, somebody just got a new car or something. The dude looked up and went, called the car dealership and got the exact address off of a pit. Like she put no words about where she is. He didn't know none of that. You know what I mean? Got the exact location. And I was like, man.
That's crazy.
Because they post everything. You gotta understand they post everything. We are in the age of information. So we should be transforming in the crystal light by now. You know what I mean? No, I'm serious. You know what I mean? Like we are the light beings. You know what I mean? So we should be going into look. We still following their system. We still eating their food. We still doing they. You know what I mean? Like this. I don't know. You know what I mean? The cool thing is starting to be us creating and supporting our own brands though. That's what's good. We starting to, you know, want to wear our own and get respect for not wearing, you know, a regular brand. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We starting to get out of that whole or support, you know what I mean, your partner or your homeboy or you know what I mean, your people or something like that, you know what I mean? So I mean that's what I do like, but we gotta get with it because it's a whole lot happening, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Okay, so I got another question before we get off, y'all.
Okay.
I want to talk about the age and attraction with
Age of what?
the age and attraction with men and
Okay.
women, right? So it's kind of still sticking into the same topic, the double standards. Why is it okay for a woman to date a younger man, but it's not okay for an older man to date a younger woman?
Because of feminists.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
The feminist movement.
Mm.
I mean, they is just basically, you know, women. I don't think the women that are feminists really respect the man's plight in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and that's I think a miss, just an oversight. You know what I mean? Because it's like the same men that you're like trying to get away from are gonna be the men that's gonna have to enforce whatever laws you want to get put in place as a feminist.
Okay.
When a man invents something, you know, he invents it for the world. You know, women invent stuff, they invent stuff for women,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I mean it's
I got
you
you
know, a
thinking on
man,
that one.
you know, an older man, you know, dealing with a younger woman is um I mean, I don't I mean it's there's a limit though. You know, there's a limit.
What's the limit? What you think is should be the
I
greatest
think
age gap between the two?
I don't know, man. Because let's say, like, we'll look at it different if a woman is 35, but the dude is 65 or 60. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like, okay, she kind of lived a little bit. But if she's 45 and she like 19
She
or
ain't live life
20,
yet.
you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you really got that baby. You know, that baby, you know what I mean? Like me, I can't even, I don't know. I mean, just them kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I mean, some men do it. But, I mean, like, if, like women in their movement, man, that's the only thing I can really think of that
I
make it
think
okay.
I think it goes
It's,
down to a fulfillment thing, and the judgment part just goes to like what you said. Like some people look at it as if the man is too old, like he hasn't given the woman enough time to mature and know like exactly what is expected out of her as a woman to this older man who's
Hey
like
man.
experienced a
So,
whole lot of life.
so we like the older
Um,
days, right? We
mhm,
like how things went and how things was kept in the old days, right? Them folk married at 14, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't always the same age. It was a man that, hey, I'm prominent family. We agreed to marry her off,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and
Well,
most of the time
well,
she
that's
didn't
not
know what
always
to do.
that's not
Back in the
always the case
day,
of my family, and neither my grandfather's family was prominent. But now
I'm saying 50 years
my
ago.
grandmother did marry my grandfather. I think she was 13 and she was 16, and they lived with my grandmother, my great grandma for a while. Uh, I mean, as far as it for me, like when I was coming up, I liked the older guys. It
Of
was
course, of
it
I
was
like
course.
more so because I thought that younger boys did not have the maturity that I was looking for. I guess because like when I was going to school, I wasn't intrigued by a lot of things that the kids my age was intrigued by. So like when I was going to school, the boys I was going to school with, they was laying down up under the stairwell, looking up on the girls' dresses. They were all trying to, you know what I'm saying, coerce with one another to get this one particular girl. Like I seen so many quiet girls get manipulated and finessed to let all these boys come to her house after class so they can run a train on her. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the type of stuff that was going on
in
when
high
I was
school.
coming up. And so I just always had the sense that, like, first of all, that's childish, and I'm not about to allow anybody to like disrespect me like that. Like, people was going to the skate ring. One of my friends went and lost her virginity behind the grocery store, and so it was just always a certain way that I wanted to carry myself. So I never wanted to give nobody the opportunity, um, for me to be the next hot topic on some bullshit because that's the only thing, you know what I'm saying? That's the only thing you could possibly be because now you go and give some precious up. These people giving up their virginity, not to one person, but five dudes at one time and think that that's okay. So now when they get back to school, everybody else think they're like, oh, well, we can just talk to her on Tuesday, sure, by Thursday. Now us five can go over there. And that's the type of stuff that was going on. And so I just never got jiggy with things like that. So I always think that it's just how you carry yourself, what's your maturity level, what you're looking for. A lot of young girls go for older men because they looking for, you know what I'm saying, a father figure. Now,
Yeah.
my dad was a part of my life up until, my teenage years. And that wasn't the reason why I liked the older guys. Again, my thing was I felt like they were more mature. Like, because I came up around a lot of older people. I never hung. When I was 13, my best friends was 23 and 24. So it was just like I needed to be able to date somebody that could uphold the caliber of thinking that I had. And I just felt like a person my age could not do that. So I always dated older. But now, like, I mean, like I said, I'm in a same sex relationship, and my girlfriend is 11 years younger than me. And that's something that I never would have thought that I would have dated somebody younger. But her maturity level is like fucking top notch, like better than any other people I didn't dated older, and I've dated up to 11 years older than me. So I think now looking at it, it's more about the maturity level of a person and the mentality of a person and what they're looking for when
Yeah.
they're going out dating this older person or this younger person. Because a man might say, look, an older woman can't do nothing with me and she been around the block. Like a lot of men think like they want something young, tender, and you know what I'm saying? Something that an older woman can't do. So I don't really feel like it should be a thing of judgment. But I do think in your own judgment of what you want, you should be able to make sure that the mindset of the person you're dating, that that's a key factor, not just, oh yeah, she young and tender, but yet she knows nothing about life. You know what I'm saying? Like that don't she just like another child in your house. Like that makes no sense. So that's what it is for me. I don't really have no bias, you know what I'm saying, on it. But if the maturity is there and they're doing it, you know what I'm saying, because the love is there or the agreement is there that they put in place, then I don't really see anything wrong with it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat with your sunshine. I love me an older man. I'm 29. I love somebody in their 60s because it
Mhm.
shows stability. It shows you know you can teach me things that I don't know.
Mhm.
So and then again, my ex best friend, she's 38. So again, like I grew up around a lot of older people. So
Mhm.
that's what attracts me to an older man. I've
Mhm.
never dated anybody younger than me. Can't do it, won't do it, will not do it. Because at this point, you 28, 27, 26, 25. You, one, still at home. Two, you work in a warehouse job. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Three, you okay with getting paid minimum wage or bare minimum, which is what, 13, $14 an hour. So I need somebody that can not take care of me, but that can show me stability.
Mhm.
So what's your take, Nate?
I mean, I told you, like, I, I that's what I think it boils down to, the feminist movement. When you talk about just the double standards on, a woman dating an older man, but me dating younger women. I mean, so I my thing was not to date younger women, but it was just like a couple years ago. This chick, she came up to me, like in the club. And I gave her my number. She asked my number, whatever. She was very mature for 25. You know what I mean? Like very, very mature. Um, like communicated great. Was a great person. But we just had a just like an argument or whatever. Kind of went left. But um, I don't know. It's like I've never been with anybody younger like that much younger than me, that actually had like a lot of, it was not, it was like she was an older woman. She was like,
Mhm.
her parents were like 60, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had her kind of, what I mean, last child or whatever. So she always had that type of vibe, like
Mhm.
going to the country, this to some blues, or what I mean, just chilling, not really being on no young person vibe like that. But
Yeah.
what I mean, can kind of switch it up too. Um,
Mhm.
but I mean, she didn't have any kids at the time, and I didn't, want to have any kids. Like 2 years ago, I don't want to have no more kids, really.
Mhm.
Um, so, ultimately we kind of, you know, went our separate ways. But, I would rather somebody kind of right in my age range, um, just because, I can, we relate, to a lot that has happened in history together. A lot of, what I mean, periods, we're going to be like, oh, do you remember this? Or, like young, she was like
Yeah.
young. So it was a lot of apps and stuff on social media, like a lot of different stuff. She, what I mean, would always approach me or come to me with or send me or something, and it'd be some news. And I'd be like, man, I
Now.
ain't really, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm in technology, but I ain't really like, into like download all the apps, seeing what the stuff can do, and what I mean, getting up, doing, you're like, oh, no,
Yeah, yeah. Now, I mean, sometimes problems can arise because I did date someone for a short time. They had no idea how to like work the phones, download stuff, upload. Didn't have
no,
Facebook.
I ain't that
So
bad. Like
sometimes, yeah.
that,
So
though.
sometimes sometimes it'll be a gap. But again, like I say, it's about communication. And then if we get to that point of communication where we realize that we're not a match for building with one another, then it should just be respected. Like, let's go ahead and cut it off here. But if the communication is not had, then you pretty much just building off assumptions. You assuming that, hey, if she talk like this, and this must be that. If she move like that, then it must be that. If he ain't doing this fast, then it must be that. And like I said, a lot of times when people go back and sit down and communicate, you come to find out, oh, it really wasn't that. We just didn't take the time out to talk about it and respect one another's responses.
Right.
Yeah. Well, y'all, this conversation has been lit. I don't know if y'all want to continue
Yeah, I
because I
like it.
still got a lot more questions. We could break this up into parts. I don't know what y'all want to do. But this conversation was definitely worth it. I loved it.
You.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. Have me on again though. You know what I mean? When you go
I
on, man.
think we can
I,
and figure out how we can get the link because I had my homegirl, she normally had she like conversations like this, so I always like to get her insight and stuff like that.
yeah,
And let's get some more insight and perceptions. I perspectives on it. I mean, because it's stuff that has to be talked about. But
yeah,
again,
yeah.
I feel like it's all about respecting people's
mhm,
perspectives. You know what I'm saying? Because if the man is out here trying to get a woman, then you should want to know how a woman thinks and what a woman thinks about how you think, and
yeah.
vice versa. It shouldn't be going into things trying to force, you know what I'm saying, things to be. And I think that that's why we got a lot of mishaps in relationships in society right now because of that. So yeah, I say definitely let's pick back up on the conversation, and I'm down for it.
Okay.
Cause
Yeah.
yeah, you had a whole bunch of questions. So yeah, let's do a part two.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I come with some more questions. I come with some questions myself and try to come
I
Okay.
I
because
appreciate Nate. I appreciate you
to
not putting your
learn how
boxing gloves on,
so men can learn how women think. You know what I mean?
cause all men don't be open to answer questions. So I
At
appreciate you putting your boxing
all.
gloves on, because
Oh
I ain't
yeah,
no
yeah.
stop.
I do it like I be having conversation with my coworkers. You know what I mean? We just few black coworkers will go out. You know what I mean? They'll ask me. I don't care. I tell from the man's perspective, but also my personal,
Mm-hmm.
idea, like what I want. Because women will ask you, so what you want? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Just
Yeah.
directly. You know what I mean? Now, not all men, not what all men looking for. What do you want specifically? And as
yeah,
a man, you gotta be ready. You gotta be
yeah.
ready at any time.
But it's more, but I mean, more men should be ready. More men
Yeah,
should be
yeah,
able to
yeah,
stand on like this is what
yeah,
I'm looking for. I think men and women both need to get to the place where we everybody set boundaries and don't bend on them. And it's
yeah.
just as
And
simple
it's
as
like, hey, yeah, oh, that's
Yeah.
your boundary. Like, damn, I really did like
yeah, and
that. Hey,
it should just be simple
I
as
might
like,
have to move
oh,
on. Yeah,
And
yeah,
women
and
should also be and women should also take the time to actually hear a man instead
yeah,
of being defensive and vice versa.
yeah,
Men should also be able to say, okay, I understand, you do it this way, but I really like you and I do see myself with you and
mhm,
I want you to be this way. And
yeah,
then it's up to the woman to not have to bark back and be
mhm.
like, okay, if you see yourself with me, let's change that.
Yeah.
Um,
You gotta be able to
yeah.
it,
listen.
it takes
You gotta
that
be
effort.
able to listen.
It takes the effort, though. You know what I mean? It takes that, that want. Like, it can't
Yeah.
always be, rejection. You know what I mean? It has to be like, okay, this would let's make a deal. Let's work,
Mhm.
work it out this way. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah. It's always gonna come back to your wants and your desires. Just like we talked about on
Yeah,
the last, you know what I'm saying, on the last podcast. You have to think about, is it worth it? Like if you
yeah,
want this person tell you like, hey, I'm not comfortable with it. Like, is that thing worth you losing this person? You know what I'm
Yeah.
right.
saying? And then if it's not, then you work on it. If it is, then you go ahead and let them know right there that like I understand, but this is where I'm at with it. And then you have to be respectable. But a lot of people like to get to that point, like, yeah, I know that's what you're saying, but I don't want to do it, but you still need to be with me. And that's not
Yeah,
fair. That's
Hmm.
selfish. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of time that's where, a lot of disrupt come in place too. So it did definitely take for me to take the time to learn myself, to understand that everything that I want out of a relationship, I need to be able to provide to the relationship. And so everything I'm looking for, I need to be able to provide to myself. So again, like I say, there was a point in time where I wanted a relationship very bad. Like I was like, send it now. Where is it? Like, I've been praying on it. But I realized it wasn't coming because I wasn't comfortable with being by myself. Like I didn't know what I like to do by myself. I didn't know like what I could do to make me happy, what I could do to be at peace when I'm on my alone. And so therefore it's almost like you saying you got a cup that'll never be filled because you need somebody else's water to complete you. And I started looking like that's not what I want to be. I want to be a full cup of water, and whatever somebody add on to me is an overflow. You know what I'm saying, of who I
Right.
can be. And
Right.
so I think that once you become comfortable with who you are as a person and feeling fulfilled as a person, then you'll draw in that better half. But as long as like you sucking in that hurt and that depression and
Unfulfilled.
all of that,
Yeah.
yeah, you gonna probably draw in somebody that's willing to just overshadow you with those emotions. Oh, I know she down in the pit, so I just take on down a little
Right.
bit further.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, they probably hurt too.
Two. Yep.
They can't really help you because they
Yep.
need help. But
Yep. Yep.
you a sweet
And
lick. You know what I'm
Right.
hurt
saying?
people hurt people.
Because hurt people. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I definitely say let's pick up on the conversation at another time. I'm down for it.
Me too. Me too. Y'all just let me know.
All right.
All right.
Shout out to all my viewers that watch. Stay tuned for part two because there will be a part two, you guys. So yeah, let's pick back up. Let's get together and see what day, what time we can do this. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Sounds good.
All
Bye
right.
bye,
See you.
y'all.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.